You are listening to an exclusive preview of this week's episode of STF Underground.
Reintroducing yourselves like you said, it's kind of all new for you. Is there something that since you've been back on the indies that you like has shocked you really the most?
I think that it's really cool to see that a lot of the guys have a better understanding at their age and their stage now than guys in my generation did, as far as being able to do good business for themselves. You know, like there's a better system, I think, of being freelance and having your own brand, and everybody's capitalizing on that really well. And it didn't used to be that way. There's a lot of mutual support, and man, it was like getting fed to the wolves when I was starting out. I'm surprised I made it out alive. I don't know.
Do you think that's a matter of, more accessibility to information, things like the internet, kind of more insight into the business nowadays?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that, it just comes down to having certain benefits that I guess we didn't have back, at the time. But that's what I've been surprised about the most, in a pleasant way. Is that that's the case. That's I think that's really great. And that has nothing to do even just for me necessarily. I think that's really cool for all the guys coming up, that they're able to get their break into it in this type of atmosphere, because before, man, like the natural filter weeded out a lot of guys.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that now the talent is just so high on the indies too, that it's pretty incredible. And like I was saying, you see the drastic changes with everyone you've been around, just so much talent. Is there, I saw that even, this past weekend, you were against Myron Reed here in Chicago. You were against Rich Swann and Ace Austin, just all these different talents. Is there anyone that, you've seen on the indies so far that you're saying, like, that's a guy I got to get in the ring with?
Ace was kind of on my list a little bit, and he happened to be like the first one. And thankfully, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity to get in the ring with him more in the future, the places that he is and stuff like that. And a lot of them are people that I'm kind of discovering through just the scheduling, like, for example, like Myron Reed. I had never seen his stuff really until that match was coming up, and man, like, I was impressed by that. And then being in the ring with him, like the amount of composure that he has, and his talent level for his time in is
for such a young guy.
Yeah, is really amazing, And I was happy to be in the ring with him, and I let him know, like, that he should have a lot of confidence because of what he's able to do at this stage. I told him if he would have lied to me and said any amount of time, I would have believed him. He could have said 10 years. I said, oh, okay. I would have believed him. No problem. When he said he's only been doing it like a couple of years, I was like, man, you're really good for your time in, man.
I really didn't know what to expect out of that match, and I think it's because a lot of people really haven't seen you in the indie scene really since what the Cruiserweight Classic was. So a lot of people didn't really know what to expect. And in my opinion, you guys told one of the most compelling stories in that ring, especially when you locked on that knee bar. Man, that was incredible moments.
Well, I think a lot of people, and this is something I guess that I'm learning, is that, like, well, I mean, I sort of understood this, like going through TNA, like, but a lot of people, they only know me from what they've seen on 205. So, like, I didn't exactly come out to 100% like Heroes Welcome. It might have been like, I don't know, 70-30 or 60-40, but there was a lot of people that, expected the same guy that's on 205 just like a jerk, and only like a limited amount of like stuff that they'll see. And I don't, because they've never seen me wrestle before, and they didn't know like, anything before that. So that's an interesting thing too, is going back to the indies, is like being like reintroducing to people like that, I guess there's a whole version of me that they missed before I got to WWE. So now, like, if you're a young fan, especially if you're like in like a teenager still, or if you're in your early 20s, there's a lot of stuff that you will have missed from me that is totally different from the type of stuff that I was sort of handcuffed and not being able to do in WWE. So.
And I think that you were also in the portion of 205 Live before they really revamped it and kind of let some people loose. And in my opinion, that was really unfortunate because I think that you were one of my favorite people that I saw in the Cruiserweight Classic. Do you feel like there's anybody, within 205 that you were able to go against that was, underused or underrated?
Oh, I mean, all of them, really. Like, I think everybody there had more to offer than we were all able to see. But I think some of it now, like I'm happy to see like guys starting to get like Lucha House Party, for example. I don't think they get enough credit for really being one of the first crossover talents to get to, and each of those guys are so talented. And like Kalisto, we know for sure, but like, Lindsay and especially Metallic, like I think people were waiting to see some stuff from them, and in Lindsay maybe they didn't even expect it, and it's just like knowing what they had to offer, I was waiting for them to get in a position where they can kind of do that, and now they're able to do that and have fun, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. And in my case too, that they also feel this way, like they're not that concerned with people knowing how good of wrestlers they are. They'll see that in little bits and pieces, but they're also able to have fun and be characters. And I think that's something that people really didn't expect, is how much fun they can be, and where they can take it. And Lindsay deserves a lot of credit for that. He's really the quarterback of all of that.
Yeah, those three guys are just incredible. And, I've seen them wrestle outside of, the WWE. And like you said, like the talent that they